we don't labor with all the answers. We don't labor with all the answers. You know, often Paul went going, not knowing. And we see this throughout the book of Acts, really throughout his life. As you read the Hall of Faith, right? In Hebrews chapter 11, you see this time and time again of Old Testament characters. The same that was true then is true now in life. This life, we go as led by the Spirit of God, but we don't know all the outcome. We don't know how things are going to work out. And so he was really following God by faith, comforted not by feelings or cold hard facts, but by the Holy Spirit of God, even though he didn't understand and know all the answers that awaited him there. Paul held his personal plans very open as he simply wanted to pursue God's purposes first and foremost. Would that be said of you? You say, yeah, it would. I want to ask a couple questions for you to consider, rhetorical. Don't answer them out loud. When things don't go your way, do you grow impatient, anxious, or angry? When things aren't working out according to your plans, do you do everything you can within your power to fix it? You become the fixer. Okay, this isn't going right. I'm gonna do this. Do you fix it? You try to fix it at least? I know when I try to do that, I usually make it worse. When health or hardships enter your life, do you pause and pray for the Lord to help you honor Him? When health or other hardships enter your life, is the first thing you do pause and pray that the Lord would help you to honor Him? Do you ask for God to be glorified through the trials and tribulations, or do you simply ask for the trouble to be removed? Remove this from me. Or do you ask, God, I want you to be glorified in this? That's what Paul wanted. That's what Paul wanted. I know as I go there, there's going to be some hard times, but listen, God, I want you to be glorified. Come what may, I want you to be glorified. And so in humility, Paul embraced God's directional course in life. He says, I have plans, but I want to be open to God's purposes. God's plans are often not our plans, and I think we all understand that because He is God and we are not. Here's what I've come to understand. We never plan for sudden tragedies, right? They're sudden tragedies. We never really plan for relational discord. We never plan really for health challenges or miscellaneous hardships. They just arrive at our doorstep. But God, He sees the big picture, and He has a much greater and grander plan than our finite minds can fully understand. You see, we tend to lean on the nearsighted, and God sees all, the beginning to the end, the first to the last, the small and the great, that both here and now, past, present, and future, this is the God that we serve. You see, God is very in tune to the affairs of your life. God is very in tune to the affairs of my life. And just because we don't always understand or have an answer to that thing right in that moment doesn't mean that God doesn't. But we must come to grips with this. I wonder, could it be that instead of embracing God's plans too much, where we say, oh yes, I want to follow and be a part of God's will, that we actually embrace God's plans too little? Could it be said that instead of embracing God's plans too much, we actually embrace God's plans too little? I'm going to do it my way. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, my life, my plans, my times. And in reality, we find God's plans to be a simple, major interruption or inconvenience to my plans. Think about Paul. He already talked about his plans earlier in Acts of going to Rome. He had plans. And now it looks as if the Holy Spirit of God is taking him to Jerusalem. He's not making demands to God. God, I want to go to Rome. He's feeling constrained to go back to Jerusalem, not knowing what will happen to him there, knowing very, very well likely he's going to be in prison and face afflictions. And he says, that's where I'm going to go. Do you see there in the end of verse 22, not knowing what will happen to me there? You know, it's okay to not know everything. Paul planned, but he acknowledged that he didn't know how the plans would unfold. And Paul didn't make demands. Rather, he was just sensitive to the Holy Spirit of God. To the organized and analytical person, this may be particularly difficult. This may drive you crazy because you like to have it all planned out. You like to have a certain measure of comfort in the plan. And when things don't go according to plan, it can throw us in a tizzy. Now, there is nothing wrong with being prepared and planning. We, in fact, ought to do that, and that's a very good thing. But we also must be in tune to the fact that God, at any second, at any moment, may change our plans. And we must be okay with that. Knowing that He has the answers and we don't. That can be frustrating, can be irritating, and yet, for Paul, he just said, come what may, I want to follow you, I want to be faithful to you,